Hello everyone, this is Charlie. I'm back again with another video. Uh, so I will be actually talking about last week's books because I didn't do a video, on time for that, but also because I didn't get any new books this week. Um, it's the craziness that Rebirth has become. It's become a bit of a mess. I mean, nobody really expected it to be this big. Well, expected it to be big, but it's just being way too big. You know, Comics are selling out really fast, and last week I was very lucky, getting my books, the books that I wanted. This week, though, my shop, the big shop that I go to, kind of decided to sort of get some order going, making sure that people wouldn't buy more than the copy of the books. So they, instead of putting them on the table where they usually put all the new books and the books that keep coming, they have like four tables. So just move the back issues from the previous week a table behind. Well, the new books weren't the new DC books weren't there. I actually had to pick them up at the counter, but and I hope they wouldn't have done I hope they wouldn't do it, but they did it, and it was 2011 all over again. They actually upped the price on all the new books. So instead of the 60 pesos, that is the equivalent of the 299 um, cover price. They're actually selling it for 100, and I mean they put like the new issues, like a sample of the new issues uh, on one of the walls, and I got closer to see how much the books cost. They were going for 100. So they try not to have people abuse and buy more copies than they should. I mean, they did that with the New 52. They upped the price of certain titles, usually the ones that would be perceived as hot, like all the Batman books. Uh, but that's like every book. So the only new DC books that they had on display on the table are the non-rebirth titles like Justice League. So I said, I'm not gonna. I mean, I had to pay 200 to restart my pull list, and I wasn't gonna spend another 200 um, on the new books. And anyways, I was going to go to the um, to the other shop, the smaller one that I've gone to for like 16 years, almost 16 years, and that's where I usually get books like the Superman books or um, Green Arrow. So I thought, I'll just go over there and restart my pull list. So I did restart my pull list on the larger shop. I'm only allowed like three titles, so I got that. Um, Paid my fee. Restarted my pull list with the three minimum titles that I could get. I did get one book, but that was like from last week. So because I decided to push one book a week, a week, because I do have a bit of a budget constraint. So this is like the only time I actually stretched what I could spend uh, because of a special situation. And I went to the other shop as well, restarted my policy there. They said they would try to get me all the new books, but because they've already ordered the books for June and July, I might not get the first printing. So hopefully they will help me with the second printings if I don't if I don't get the chance to get those first printings. So that was very cool of them. Talk to them this to the guys in the smaller shop. But a little bit bigger than my room, which is where we are. Uh, it's very cool of them. You know. And anyways, let's go to the a quick thoughts on the last week's book. So first off, Action Comics. So yeah, a new era begins, bringing back the old pre-Flashpoint Superman, the post-crisis Superman. Um, I really enjoyed this issue a lot. Felt very familiar to me. This is really the Superman I remember. I had no problems with the New 52 version, the post Flashpoint version. Uh, I did have trouble with the writing. They really didn't know what to do with the character. What new things they could do with the character. Um, so by guys bringing back the old Superman and the classic writer like Dan Jurgens, who wrote Superman for you know about 10 years or so, continuously. Um, would was like the best move for them. I mean, it does feel kind of old school. We get to see some familiar faces that had been shown up in a while, like Maggie Sawyer, who started out as a Superman supporting character, and she's been. I mean, she was in the Batwoman book. She's back to where she started, with Superman. That was very cool. Like I said, it feels old school at times, but at the same time, it's not just looking to the past, but with the merged Superman with his son, it's also looking towards the future. It's a very different Superman, but in that sense that it's not like what it was before the New 52, before the whole Flashpoint, pre-Flashpoint stuff. It's Superman, your classic Superman in a new situation, and it was a very, I really enjoyed it. I mean, yeah, okay, so we got Doomsday showing up again, uh, and I think it is very close to the last Doomsday appearance, the last Doomsday story, but I think this will probably go in a very, very different direction. It's a different Superman than the last guy that fought Doomsday. I mean, this is a Superman that is familiar with Doomsday and, has fought him before, even if it cost him his life. Um, a lot of mysteries are in this issue to, capture the imagination, I guess. Who hired, first of all, who captured Doomsday, who kept them locked up, who hired the people um, to those criminals that show up here in the first few pages. These people that show up here. This who hired them to strike and to retrieve Doomsday's coffin. You got Clark Kent showing up, which is again a very interesting appearance. Who is this Clark Kent? If he's supposed to be dead, the New 52 Superman's supposed to be dead. He died. It seems he died definitely, but this comics is Superman. Uh, but we really don't know who this Clark Kent really is, and you know I enjoyed the story. The pacing was great. The tension really did build up as the story progressed. The art by Patrick Sucher, um, you know, is fantastic. I mean, the last run of the last run on Green Arrow before the relaunch, that was like the best part of that the run, the art. So I'm glad to see it. See him doing Superman and going from a bit of the darker stuff that was going on in Green Arrow to this more lighter, uh, brighter, bright colors. He does uh, you know, some great splash pages. Full splash pages. I mean, this is very classic Superman. Um, then we got like, uh, you know, facing Luthor. Beyond, Superman just looking down upon Luthor, making him bigger than life. Uh, you get a really good look at his new look as well. So yeah, it's a great fun, familiar book. I really enjoyed it. Uh, Flash, or should we call it Rebirth number two, if you will, because it does sort of set up part of what's coming, but that really is like minimal, sort of like in the background for the most part. I mean, we do get it like at the end of the at the last page that's set up for the new arc. While mostly this take just released Flashpoint. Before Flashpoint, I mean, before Rebirth, during Rebirth, and after what happened in Rebirth. So this is definitely Rebirth. Uh, so it doesn't really add much to the Flash story, I guess. It does flesh out more of the Rebirth event stuff. Sort of adds to Rebirth. Because we get to see what happened during before Wally showed up. We get more Wally Barry scenes as well, and we get what happened after that final page where Batman found the smiley face pin, and we really get what happened after that last page. So it sort of progresses the story in that uh, uh, direction, but it doesn't really add much to the Flash until like at the very end the of this issue, where we get to see the new villain in a very fuzzy, you know, just bunch of lines really showing up there. And in fact, not even the framing of the story, which is the murder of a woman, the same way that you know Barry's mom was killed, added much to it. But I think that really it wasn't very interesting, I guess. But it sort of, I think, by the way that story closes, it is a hint to the new story arc. But the I mean, they do like sort of drop little hints, like the Speed Force, his conversation that he had with his father about Speed Force. I guess the murder itself has something to do with the new villain as well. So we'll see if it's interesting going forward. Uh, then we got Wonder Woman. Now I really thought uh, I wasn't gonna get this issue, uh, but I guess I got lucky last week because I went on Thursday. The books were late, in a way the show hadn't really gotten all their books out on time. I think they hadn't rather or something. So at 1 o'clock, I saw that tweet. At 1 o'clock, they would be putting all the books out on sale. So that was there. These were in the tail with the new books, no problem. So I got lucky and got the issue because I mean this is the return to for Greg Rucka to the Wonder Woman, and that I missed the first run. I heard it was a good run. Uh, Wonder Woman is very popular character. You know so anyways, uh, another sort of story that ties into the rebirth as well. As you know, it explores the many origins and the of Wonder Woman. Uh, the art is by Matthew Clark and Liam Sharp, doing like half, almost half the book, or most of the book is done by Matthew Clark, who actually worked with Ruka on his run on the Adventures of Superman back, back around a little over 10 years ago, before Infinite Crisis. Uh, so an interesting issue as it does explore the story of Wonder Woman. What's her truth? Who is Wonder Woman? Is basically how the story should be called. Um, I mean, just call it Wonder Woman Rebirth, but this is more of a who is Wonder Woman? Uh, the various origins, the elements, I guess, that are being brought back uh, in Rebirth, are being brought are what uh, I guess it's what trying to find out, it creates that contradiction of Wonder Woman's history, because if we go back to the Azarello run, both origins seem to be valid in a way. Like one was a lie, and the other one was the truth. So there was a lie that she was, magical creature created out of clay, and the truth was that she was the daughter of Susan Hippolyte, Queen and the Queen. Uh, but it does try to sort of find sense to all of the multiple origins Wonder Woman has had, because unlike Superman or Batman or Hal Jordan, Green Lantern, or the Flash, whether it be Barry or Wally or all of the other heroes, Wonder Woman hasn't really had a very consistent origin. You had one that came from the Golden Age, one that was modified for the Silver Age. Then we got the George Perez origin. Then you have the New 52 post Flashpoint origin. So it's never really been very consistent. There's been like little differences there. Unlike Superman or Batman, the only things that change in those origins is not the origin itself, but the stuff in between. In every version, Bruce Wayne's parents get murdered. Krypton explodes and he lands with the Kents. But here with Wonder Woman, many origins are being explored, and so now Wonder Woman's trying to find the truth of who she is, who is Wonder Woman. Uh, Finally, this is the new book that I got this week from last week. This one came out last week, like I said, The Adventures of Supergirl. This is issue 3. So this one reprints chapters six and seven from the digital first comic. Um, this one was very cool because we're introduced to the villain Sai, who actually is an old villain from the 80s Supergirl series, the last Supergirl series before Crisis on Infinite Earth. So it's sort of get the TV universe version of the character, uh, which is cool in itself. But this is even cooler, much more interesting because the whole story takes place. The whole story, the two-part story, really takes place inside the dreams, inside Supercross dreams in the dream world, dreamscape, whatever you wanna call it. And what we get is a fun way to show various versions of the characters. So I mean, it's like totally interesting. We get references to Peter David's Supergirl, even to Peter David's Fallen Angel, which so it's sort of like a continuation of his run on Supergirl back in the 90s. So, for example, we got a reference to the New 52 Supergirl with the Kryptonian armor that showed up in the Crucible storyline, which was drawn by actually the artist in the drew both parts of this story with Emanuela Lupacchino, uh, which is cool. I mean, we got the pre-Flashpoint Supergirl and references to the New Krypton story. We got Red Lantern Supergirl, the I guess you can say the animated version of Supergirl, the latter day Peter David Supergirl, the one with the white t-shirt as well. We got like an alternate version from the future wearing a pink costume, but so there's reference to Chicago, which is where the Blast Cazarel series from the 80s before Crisis took place. So really great stories. So if you haven't read this online, or not online but digitally, uh, it's really worth picking up these reprinted versions of those digital first stories. I mean, this is like the top book. I mean, this is like the best Supergirl comic I've read in a long time. Uh, um, Let me think. I mean, I read this on my way home on the bus, and it's so good. I actually missed my stop. So yeah, it's a great read. Really worth it. Also, really worth checking out Sterling Gates' run on Supergirl. Uh, like I mentioned before, it does take place mostly during the New Krypton storyline, but for the most part, each title was independent of each other. Just like the whole thing had much more tight continuity with each other. So yep, those are the books. Um, I picked up from last week. Hopefully, I'll talk about the books from next week, and if I'm lucky, I'll get the books that I can get this week. Um, One more thing. On Wednesday, I uploaded a little video of sharing, my I actually sharing a test I made with my guitar. I wanted to see if my little microphone from my laptop could capture the acoustic sound of an electric guitar. I mentioned that before, I don't have a functioning amplifier. So I need to keep. I'm looking for one right now. But it's actually just play my guitar the way I playing it without the amplifier has helped. Cause I'm kind of going back to schooling on music, uh, because I tried to learn some stuff about jazz, and you know, I'm really going back through all the stuff that I skipped, which is musical theory, because as it happened, when you want to learn to play the guitar, all you want to do is learn songs, and you don't really care about the theory. I'm going back to that. Anyways, I was doing like various tests, seeing if my little microphone here from my laptop captured that sound. It did, and I thought that test was. I mean, I erased all of the other ones, but I felt that test was great, so I decided to share it with all of you. So tell me what you think. Um, it's a bit of a blues piece, it's very bluesy. I did some unconventional things with that as well. I mean, I was just fooling around, so I wasn't really thinking, but I did some unconventional stuff, which goes against all that is musical theory. So those of you who are musically savvy might notice I'm playing a chord there that shouldn't go there anyways, but it sounds good. Uh, and So I hope you check that out if you haven't checked it out already. Leave me your comments. Tell me what you think about that. Leave me your comments here to tell me what you thought about the books I talked about. I mean, I know they're like a week old, but you know, it's always great to hear from people. So um, it's it's gonna be that I better just sign off now because it becoming a very long video. So anyways, until next time, keep smiling.